emotionally unavailable. And again, it goes back to some of the points I was making earlier on about the thing of not crying, not feelings. We know men are not going to feel the way women do. They're just not designed that way. But they are going to have a level of care and a level of mercy. It reminds me of one of the Sahabas saw the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam playing with his grandchild, and he said, you play with your grandchild? I have had my grandchild. I've never kissed or played with them. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, mercy has been snatched from your heart. What can I do for you? Like, what can I do for a man who has no mercy in his heart? I can't help you with that, basically. You have no mercy in your heart, and I can't help you with that. And with us women being such emotional creatures, we need men to try. I know it may not come as natural to them as it does to us. We need men to try to at least show us a bit more emotion, be a little bit more supportive, and therefore not even caring whatsoever about other people's emotion means that that person themselves may well be emotionally unavailable, which is not good for a relationship. Relationships are give and take. Us women have to learn to be a little bit more reasonable at times. Men have to learn to be a little bit more emotional at times. There's a balance, and we have to fight against our nature in some ways to make relationships work. And that's why a lot of the times the relationships fail, because us human beings just think we can just stay exactly the way we are. And why isn't it all working out? Because actually, you have to bend a bit, he has to bend a bit, and that's how you make it go along. That's how it works. If one person's going to be like, no, I say so, and standing my ground, and the other person's like, you can't tell me what to do. Like, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Men have to learn to be a little bit more flexible in fighting the way they are naturally to some extent when it comes to family, building a home, so that it works better. So men are not that emotional as women are. But you know what? Sometimes you have to show that emotion and that care to your wife and to your children, to your mother and all of that, because at the end of the day, that will make that person feel loved. And if you're with a partner who doesn't care whether you feel loved or not, I don't know. Do you want to stay with that person for the rest of your life? Because as far as I'm concerned, like, why are they marrying you? Are they just marrying you just so that you can have a stamp of, I'm a husband? Or are they actually marrying you to try to create a peaceful and happy home together? And sometimes we will have to do certain things we don't like or we don't even care for just to make that person feel a little bit more considered and a bit more happier. Because that's our loved ones and we care for them in that way. So a man who is emotionally unavailable, doesn't care about all these emotion stuff, like, you're extremely upset. And I'm not talking about the women who use their emotions to like abuse the situation, but I'm talking about you're not a woman that cries that often. And the day when something really upsets you and you're crying your eyes out, the guy's just sitting there looking at you like, hello. Seriously, like, that type of stuff is stuff you want to be really careful about, because you might find yourself forever trying to get this person to give me a little bit of heart. Like, just give me a bit of heart. I'm always trying to get something out of this person, but it's like nobody's there. You know what they say? The lights are on, but no one's at home. One of those situations. So emotionally unavailable men is a sign that a man has a lot going on deep underneath, and you may not want to associate yourself with this type of a person. The next one is really one I should have said earlier on, and I, again, touched on it a little bit already, and that is aggressiveness. Aggressiveness, when it's utilized in the wrong situations, is a sign of toxic masculinity. Why? Because aggression is usually a character trait that we expect to see in men, but that they should use it in ways that's positive. But when you have aggression in a way of, domestic abuse and abusing the children, just sometimes not even the physical aggression, but sometimes the verbal aggression, is the way the words come out. It's the way, like, I'm a millennial, right? In my generation, I think our parents, their parents raised them in such a way, especially if you're like from Africa. Their parents raised them in such a way where it's like, if your dad is coming home, everyone got scared when dad was coming home. Like, everyone got scared when dad was coming home. And then when we think about that, it's like, but why is everyone scared when dad's coming home? Dad is not this big bad monster that you needed to be scared of. You needed to respect him. There's a difference. And I think a lot of men have gotten this difference. I don't even think a lot of them even know the difference. They're like, maybe to some extent, you need a little bit of fear to respect someone. I can understand that a little bit. But at the same time, if someone truly respects you, they're not just going to avoid certain things only when you're around, right? It's like, let's think about our relationship with Allah. And with Allah is the best of examples. Allah doesn't need to be right here in our face for us to be like, it's the last time we need to go and pray. Like, he told us pray. If you don't, this is what the consequence is going to be when the time comes. But Allah doesn't need to be in our living rooms every day watching us being like, hello, time to pray. No, if you truly love Allah and you fear him the way you say that you do, which is why I say an element of fear could be a part of respect, then you would pray anyway. But it's not such a fear that Allah needs to be present to doing something to punish you right away before you do that thing. So for men, them thinking that fear is the only tool that they can use to attain respect is actually a toxic thing in my perspective. I think it's very toxic. I think rather you should gain people's love and their respect and true honor, because sometimes the way you gain other people's respect is when they really have internalized whatever you've taught them, and they now really believe it as part of their own core belief. Whereas with fear, sometimes you just don't do something because you don't want to be harmed, right? Rather than, I don't want to do these things because I truly respect this person. So if my husband said to me, I don't appreciate when you do that, I'm not going to stop doing that because I'm scared that, oh my gosh, if I don't stop, he's going to divorce me. That might be part of the fear. I'm just giving an example. That might be part of the reason why I don't do that behavior anymore. But if I really respected my husband, if I cared about how he felt, and I wanted my husband to be happy, I would avoid making that decision again because I don't like the sadness. I don't like the unhappy person that I see when I do that behavior. So therefore, I avoid that behavior rather than, oh my God, I'm scared he might do something to me if I stop that. So I think that, so essentially what I'm saying here, and that's just a long-winded way of basically saying that men who use aggression as one of their main tools of attaining control are aggressive, are toxic men, period. They are toxic men because when you are the person who is supposed to protect, you should not be the source of violence and harm and hurt to the people you love. It's contrary. It's not making sense. The man is meant to be the protector. So how is the same protector being the one that's harming? Now, some might argue that, well, maybe he's protecting something else. It's very difficult to protect something by harming it. It's very difficult. So, sisters, be aware. Men who are aggressive are toxic men. And be careful. Do not get yourself caught up. Do not give these people excuses. I know this is what us women love to do. Make 1,000,001 excuse for the men who are aggressive, for the men who hit other women and children and people beneath them. We make excuses for them just because we're in love with the idea of love. And trust me, a video is coming with the mistakes women make too. Sometimes we're just in love with the idea of love and we fail to see reality, even when reality is literally staring at us in the face. So if he's toxic, he's aggressive, he hits you, he harms you in any way, sis, check out. Just check out. Check out. Allah brought you to this world to serve him. He didn't bring you into this world to get beaten up by somebody else. Please. Physical aggression especially is one of the classic traits of toxic men. The next trait of toxic men is being neglectful of their fatherly duties. I know, I just said it all at that point. Men who are neglectful of their fatherly duties. You know what? I sometimes watch some of these videos on social media and it just triggers me at times, so I avoid watching them. I see men who have the audacity to come on social media, tell women they need to be X, Y, and Z in order for you to marry them. But bro, you left that woman with the 3, 4, 5 of your children and you